Hey, we're live. We are live with Scott W. Pryor, our guest today. Say hi, Scott.
Hi, guys.
All right, so we're going to talk about just general stuff today. We're going to talk about Scott's art. We're going to just kind of get into it. It'll be a lot of fun. And Scott will be our featured artist today at 3 p.m., so you'll get a chance to get to know him and then watch him paint later on in the day. So, Scott, I'm going to drop off, do some announcements, bring you back. While I'm waiting for, while you're doing that, if you'll email me that thing we discussed, and I'll figure out how to get it in the show.
Okay, perfect.
All right, terrific. Okay, so hang on a second. I got to figure out how to do this. Here we are, day number, what is it? 144 live. I am still in Austin, Texas. And I'm Eric Rhoads, publisher of Fine Art Connoisseur and Plein magazines. Also, Fine Art Today, Plein Today, Realism Today, and American Watercolor, our newsletters. We also do the Plein Convention. We do the Figurative Art Convention and Expo. We do Plein Live, which just took place about 3 weeks ago. And we're doing Realism Live, which I'll tell you about in a minute. Anyway, thank you. Welcome today. Today's guest is Scott W. Pryor, who is Scott's on the West Coast. I'm in Austin, Texas, getting ready to take my kids off to college. Now, I have 3 going into college freshman year at the same time, because that's what happens when you have triplets. I was thinking about, our life with triplets, and it started out with 3 car seats. And we couldn't get just any car because we couldn't find a car that would hold the width of 3 car seats. And then we had to find a car that would hold a triplet stroller. And so we ended up with a Honda Odyssey, and that would hold everything. And we've had that Honda Odyssey for 18 years until this summer, when we actually left it up at the lake over the winter in the garage up there, and it got infested by mice. The mice got in it somehow. There was probably food left around, and the mice got in it, and they ripped out all of the foam in the seats. They pooped and peed everywhere. We had it cleaned. It wouldn't work. We had it cleaned again. It wouldn't work. We had a extermination guy come in, and we were still finding mice. It was awful. And so finally I said to Lori, well, call Geico. Maybe they'll total the car. And they did. They totaled it. So we no longer have our 18-year-old van. We got a new used van to replace that. But anyway, everything with the triplets has been, 3 times everything. So 3 tricycles, then 3 of the next level tricycles, and then 3 small bicycles, and then 3 of the next level bicycles, and 3, the whole thing, skateboards. It's been crazy. And now 3 college educations. And you wonder why I'm still working? Well, I love working, so that's part of the deal. Anyway, welcome today. Thank you for tuning in, and it's kind of fun to do this every day and to communicate with you guys. Got lots of people watching. Hello from India. That's the first one I've seen from India, and that's Pakruti. All right, Pakruti, welcome. And hello, Southeast Michigan, Virginia, Northampton, United Kingdom, South Dakota, Ohio, Maine, Carlsbad, Saudi Arabia. Well, we got a big group today. Marquette, Michigan. So thank you, guys. It's been fun. I got a couple of announcements today. First off, we'll talk about what we've got going on. Remember, this being day number 144, every day for 144 days, I've been standing here trying to keep you guys distracted. That's it, distracted. I want to keep you away from the news, keep you away from the politics, keep you away from the COVID, keep you away from all the rumors and the riots and all the stuff that's happening, and keep you focused on keeping your head in the right place, keeping positive, and not allowing this stuff to consume you, because it will consume you. And I know we all have these days. I had a day yesterday, as a matter of fact. I just sat around and I killed the whole day on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and maybe not the whole day, but I just killed too much time. And, you get consumed. It's like roadkill. You want more and more. And then, then you're down. And so I had to get myself out of that, and I just can't do that anymore. I can't watch the news, and I want to keep you guys upbeat and try to keep you focusing on either learning art, growing, learning about art. If you're not doing painting or drawing right now, we're trying to give you samples. So every day at 3 p.m. we're giving you samples. Today at 3 p.m. we have Scott W. Pryor, and he's going to be teaching you vibrant cityscapes. And this painting, I got to watch him do this painting, and it's absolutely fabulous. He's a great artist. You're going to enjoy that, and that's at 3 o'clock today. And Scott's going to be our guest today, but we're going to show you some of the process that he went through to create this painting, and that will be at 3 o'clock today on Facebook or YouTube, and that's at Streamline Art Video. You just go into YouTube or Facebook and search Streamline Art Video. You can find it. It'll come to you live. I repeat this every day because every day I'm learning about new people who are tuning in. And so thank you for tuning in. What else do I have? Well, the big enchilada is Realism Live. This is a massive online virtual conference that we're doing, and it's about realism. And what is realism? Well, realism is representational art, meaning it represents something. You can tell what it is, right? And what realism is not would be abstract. We have nothing against abstract. I'm not saying that whatsoever, but realism is teaching you various forms of realism. So that's going to be portraits, figures, flowers, still life, landscapes, all forms of realism. We have top instructors. We're already starting to get some more names coming in that are agreeing to come on board, and I'll be announcing those probably next week. But we have Dan Sprick, Juliet Aristides, Dan Gerhartz, Rose Franson, Graydon Parrish, and Josh LaRock to begin with, and some big surprises coming soon. So hang in there for that. And remember that to sign up before August 30th to keep your the early bird price, right? After August 30th, the price goes up $100. And you can get replays on this if you can't meet the date. But it's fun to do it live, and it's interactive, and we're talking to one another, and it's really been a lot of fun. I have a slide here. I'll show you. This is a slide from Plein Live. We threw the Realism Live logo in there, but we were talking in small breakout groups. We were having cocktails together at the end of the day. We were painting together. A whole lot of fun. And so we're going to do the same thing, only on an even larger scale. We had, 1,200 people at Plein Live. We're already at 700 people for Realism Live, and we've got a couple months to go. So I think it's likely that it's going to be a pretty big group. How big, we don't know. But anyway, check that out. I want to remind you guys that starting in October, which before you know it, we'll be here, we're going to be in 278 Michael's stores with Plein Air magazine. So we're pretty excited about that. Also want to remind you that we're doing a national television show. I cannot tell you the network yet because I have to get it into production first, but we're in the process of raising the money right now. We've got to raise about $600,000 more. It's close to $1 million production, and it's going to be seen by 20 million people every week for however many weeks. It's either going to be 13 episodes or 7 episodes. That's yet to be determined. We would have been in production in Italy. That was the original plan. And then now with COVID, that's not the original plan anymore. So as soon as we raise the rest of the money, we're going into production. We'll decide at that time where we're going to produce. And so you can be on the show. It's amateur artists who can be on the show. It's a reality show. You're going to be painting with us for the entire event. Then there will be judges who will giving awards at the end and a grand prize and your painting going into a museum. We will also have professional artists on as mentors. And so that's going to be pretty cool. Anyway, if you want to be a mentor or you want to be on the show in some way, go to thegreatoutdoorpaintingchallenge.com and you can sign up for that. And then, of course, the network will make those choices. We don't get to make those choices. But it's pretty cool, and it's going to be a great way to bring plein air painting to the forefront in America in a big, big way. This is going to be seen, like I said, by 20 million per episode, it estimated. And so that's pretty cool. So that's called the Great Outdoor Painting Challenge. And I get to host it, which is even more fun. Yeah, because I need something more to do. Anyway, all right. Reminder that we have a Carl Dempwolf painting worth $6,000 that he is giving away for us in the month of August. You go to paintinggiveaway.com and just go there one time. You don't need to go multiple times, and you'll have a chance to win that painting. And he made the frame too. It's a beautiful frame and a beautiful painting, and he's a superstar. So thank you, Carl Dempwolf. Anyway, now let's get right to our guest, Scott W. Pryor.
Hello.
Man, I know. It's like, what's going on?
It's crazy what we can do now. I was getting coached by the family, like, make sure you have enough bandwidth because we're all home, and I don't do interviews like this that often, so that's pretty funny.
Well, you know, we're going through the same thing. Here in Austin, we got plenty of bandwidth. We've got like a gigabit, but in at the lake where I normally am, it's pretty tight. And so we have to say to the kids, okay, at noon, you cannot go online. You can't watch any social media, can't watch any videos, can't watch Netflix, same kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a learning curve, but you know, we're getting through it. You're definitely getting through it. You're killing it every day.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So tell me about what you've been doing. First off, I'm sorry about the loss of your father recently. That's a horrible, horrible experience. I went through that with my mom recently. What have you been doing during COVID?
We're just trying to be busy, you know, and painting. And I started a giant mosh pit painting, which I just finished the other day. I think I emailed that to you, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you talk about that painting, and while you're talking about it, I'll go and find it.
It's a painting that I've had this idea of for a few years now, and I got invited to bring my camera to a show at a friend's show called Rancid, and I took a bunch of pictures while I was there, you know, in the pit and jumping around with my camera. And it was pretty funny because people were protecting me because I had my camera, which was awesome. So it's a piece that's taken probably 200 something hours, because if you go into all the drawings and all the, you know, concept stuff to now, and, you know, I mostly paint urban stuff, as you know. So once COVID hit, it was like, hey, why don't you do that painting? And you have the board, the big giant, you know, 4860 panel to do something with it. So I did, and I just got started on it, and it was super hard. I mean,
well, you know, I don't think of you as a figurative painter. I didn't even know you had that skill, but I've got it up on the screen now. You can probably see it. So that's 48 by 60.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And it's from about like 23 different photos, you know, from the show. And the whole story, I was sitting there, standing next at the edge of the pit, watching these two guys going against the grain. So you have the bald guy that comes through and he gets the other dude. Those two guys were going against the grain, which most people go counterclockwise in a mosh pit. They were going clockwise. And so I just was like, I gotta do something with this. So that's how this came about. Making it so that, you know, I don't know. There's a lot of aggression going on inside those pits, as you know. They're pretty fun.
I don't know. I've never been, but I have a picture. I have a picture of it on your easel. You would have to protect me. I'm afraid I would be scared to death in that environment.
Everybody will pick you up. I mean, this is an all ages show. So like you see the kid in the front with the mohawk, there's women in the pit. There's, you know, it's hilarious. It's like, and if you look at the photos, someday I'll put together like the photos of the people that are surrounding these guys watching this happen, because they're like laughing, they're picking people up, it's super funny and weird and a little hardcore all at one swoop. It's funny. Because of the expression on the guy that looks like Greg Mortensen, the guy with the hat with his mouth open. Yeah.
It looks like he's angry. I can't tell if he's angry or he's just screaming.
He's singing.
He's singing.
He's singing. Yeah,
All right.
they're all singing along and yelling at each other and just laughing. It's like it's a fun aggression. Like, it's hard to describe. You have to experience it.
All right. Well, I would actually like to experience it. I'm one of these guys that likes to experience anything within reason. So I'd probably be the oldest person there, but I would, and I may have to get a mohawk or dye my hair different.
No, you can go dressed as you are. That's the beauty of punk rock. You don't have to have the mohawk. You don't have to have any of that. You can just be a normal polo shirt kind of guy and go to shows. They don't care.
Yeah,
that's what's fun. It's
I will do that with you sometime when I'm out there.
Yeah, when we can do that again, I will take you to a show.
Yeah, well, that's right. You can't do it right now, can you?
No, we have to wear the bubbles. Yeah, have you ever seen the guys wearing the big bubble suits?
No, I haven't.
I'll send you a video. It's hilarious.
Okay. So so this is a big departure from your normal work, which is mostly urban scenes.
Yeah, I'm still doing that though.
Do you? I know you are, but I'm curious. Do you have a plan for this painting? Because that's a huge undertaking. That's how many hours did you say?
About 200. My goal is hopefully to get it into maybe a museum. That's the number one goal. I do have somebody I'm going to talk to about that with. That they started collecting my work. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to jinx it, And then I also have people from, we'll say, the Rancid family, that are interested in it as well. So it could go to somebody in the music industry. I don't know yet, but I'm going to do more of those to do a series, not as big and not as complicated, plenty complicated because there's so many people and so much stuff going on. So I'm going to do a little mini series of those while I'm bouncing back and forth to an urban series that I'm starting to work on this week.
Yeah, well, if you the first place that should go is a museum, because it's reflective of a piece of culture, and so I think it needs to be in a museum. And that particular painting kind of crosses a barrier between modern and contemporary realism and modern, because because of the theme and the shape and so on, it would fit into a modern museum as well. So yeah, that needs to be in Los Angeles in one of the museums there.
That's what I'm hoping for. So I'm just going to start talking to people. I need to get a good picture of it, which is, as you know, doing a dark painting is really hard, especially a giant one. So
yeah, well, so I will tell you that there are a lot of people who are watching this who have a lot of influence or might be able to make an introduction or to make it happen. And I can definitely see this in a museum because it really reflects our times. I love going into museums and seeing something that was reflective of what was going on in the 50s or the 60s or the 70s. And that definitely is part of our culture. And it's not the culture that most of us see every day. No. You've kind of grown up with and lived that culture.
Yes. Definitely been part of it locally. And early on, my parents did not want me to be a part of that culture. Because back in the late 70s and 80s, I was young, and the scene was really hardcore and really intense, and people were just coming out of the pits bloody and beat up and stuff, and it was not it was fun, but not really. It's a lot nicer now.
I was going to say I may have to change my mind about that.
No, it's not like that now. It's not at all like that now. It's like it went from back in the day. It went from being doing those hardcore pits. Then you have Devo doing the pogo, and that kind of changed the attitude. So it's like, bring the girls up and let the kids come in, and don't run anybody over and hurt them. If you do, please pick them up and don't smash, stomp on them. So
it's more genteel now.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Have you taken your kids?
Yes. They stand on the edge.
So do your kids look at this as, oh, that's an old people thing?
they look at the music as old people, but there are, of course, younger bands that are coming through the punk scene. Our oldest lives, she was living in Berkeley, so she's started going to the Gilman, which is an nonprofit for up and coming punk bands. So it's in Berkeley, she started going to that and going to shows on her own. So it's in the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, our youngest, which she surprised me just a couple months ago, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm really into Offspring." I'm all, "What? You like punk?" She's like, "Yes, some." I was like, "Okay, well, now good to know. Well, whenever we can go back to a show, we'll take you to them."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, but the general rule around here is my kids pretty much don't like anything I like.
yeah, we get that too.
Yeah.
The old stuff they're not so into.
Well, we're going to be empty nesters as of the end of this week, so it's going to be a new experience in life.
We were almost there, man.
Yeah,
everybody came home, so it's okay though. Well, Wendy and I both work out of the house anyway, so this is really nothing that new, So yeah. It's cool.
Well, Wendy travels so much. I would imagine now with the COVID, she's not been able to travel.
No, they have Estee Lauder put a hold on all that. So just local stuff. They're getting back to work now in the country. So, but yeah, she's here. She's doing everything virtual. She's probably on a Zoom meeting right now.
Did I ever tell you my Estee Lauder story?
No.
I thought I told you that.
I don't remember.
So I hope I can say this publicly without getting into any trouble. But the Lauders, I think it was Ron and Evelyn, the son and daughter-in-law of Estee Lauder, were visiting some people on our lake, and they came over to my dad's house for a boat ride because my dad has this really cool boat. And so I'm holding Berkeley in my arms. Berkeley is maybe 2, right? And she comes up and she goes, "Oh, what a cute little boy." And he goes, and he sprays her. And I was mortified, of course. She was very, very sweet about the whole thing. "Oh, I have grandkids. I know,
That's so funny.
She's gone on to that great makeup company in the sky now, unfortunately. She was a very sweet lady. So let's talk about art.
Yes.
Because that's why we're here. So when you were working on this big piece, were you also working on what I would call your bread and butter?
Yes. Got out a little bit to paint and then teaching a little bit as well, which is hard because of the COVID thing. So, I'm trying to do the more online mentoring and critiques. So I started doing that, but that's like all when this stuff started happening in March. So I haven't really pushed it.
I will say this about you is that you're a survivor. You're the kind of guy who will always figure out a way. When we announced that we were doing our Cuba trip, I think it was our first Cuba trip, you wanted to go to that so badly that you put together a series of prints and an online fundraising thing and managed to raise the money to be able to go. I was very impressed with that.
Yeah, I had to go on that. It was like, I would have been so bummed if I didn't go after all the years of me talking about trying to get to Cuba and then becoming an artist and you guys going there. I had to get on that. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I don't know anything else what I would do.
Well, that's a lesson in determination, though. I mean, I remember talking to you about it. You said, "I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure out how to do it."
Yeah, I had an art angel. We'll just leave his name out of it. I don't want to get a phone call later on, but he helped me out, and then
I remember that. I remember
he basically made me go on the trip, and we didn't even know each other. We met through Facebook and social media, and we knew of each other's work. But he made me go on the trip, as long as I triple promised to pay him back, and that's how we did the GoFundMe. And I was able to pay him back, and make it happen. So that's the person you have to have, like, the tenacity and perseverance and make it through all this art world stuff, you know.
So how long have you been supporting yourself as an artist?
Well, it's funny, we were just talking about the other night how there was a time where I was jumping around waiting tables and working at Starbucks, you know, latte boy. And I was just getting grumpier and grumpier at it. And my wife's like, just stop, you know. So back around 2000 is when I stopped working in retail and just made a go of it and have been hitting the streets ever since, really.
So what is your best advice to somebody who is they're at that point, you know, they're painting, they're either painting at working part-time somewhere, or maybe they're still in their other job. And what's your best, looking back, what's your best advice for them?
Well, looking back, like the plein air movement, those shows was a huge part of obviously what I've been doing, and it helped get me out there. Nowadays, it's totally different, as we know. We can't really do those shows. So I really think like what you're doing and what other people are doing with the online shows is really a great way to get your name out there in front of people's faces and stuff. I haven't, like, the last time I entered a show was for the last year, I think, or when we went to San Francisco. I entered that one, the salon, because you still have to keep your name out there. You can't stop doing it. So every now and then I'll enter one just to show like I'm still here, you know, like,
you know, that's really a critically important point, because if you're going to be a full-time artist, then you have to take the attitude of, I have to remain visible forever until you decide to hang up your paintbrushes.
Yeah, you can't stop. You have to, and you have to adapt, like what we're all doing now. You know, you're helping us adapt with it. So it's been, it's an interesting time.
We just had somebody join from Syria. Welcome, Syria. I mean,
Syria, wow.
This is so amazing to me that here we are. We all have this one thing in common, and it's art. And even though many of us don't speak the same language, I think people watching this are probably figuring it out. But we have this common language of art and paintings, and
it's so cool.
The world is one world.
Gives me chills right now thinking about it. You know, we're all connected.
Well, yeah, we also have Allen Park, Michigan. So it's like there's another place that is tuning in. So very cool.
What happened? Eric? Hi, guys. I lost Eric. I don't know what happened. So let's talk about whatever. Painting. The perseverance idea is crucial. And you just have to pick yourself up, and, you know, when you get beat up, and keep going, keep chugging along. There he is.
Yeah. Thank you for covering there, because I hit a button and I disappeared all of a sudden. That's how it's gonna be one day. It's just all of a sudden I'm gonna disappear. So you did a video which you're going to be showing. We're showing pieces of that today at 3 o'clock. And I'm just curious. Now, you actually did two different ones, and I get this question all the time. So, what's the difference between vibrant cityscapes and painting the urban landscape?
Well, besides what's the difference?
Yeah, I mean, do you teach different techniques, or you're reinforcing one versus another?
There's the difference. Besides the size and the perspective and stuff is harder on the urban landscape one. The vibrant cityscape was more about the color that you can see, you know, with reflection and with the light and stuff on a street. So the approach is pretty much the same, though. It's like I try to set the stage And I go over that in both videos, and it's about setting the stage. Like, so I set up the surroundings to where the focal points I save for last. So like the cable car, that was the last thing I painted on the urban landscape. And then on Vibrant Cityscapes, the last thing I painted on that was the trolley.
So I'm curious why you saved the focal point for last. Obviously, you're designing it into your composition. It seems to me that that's the thing you love the most, and it seems like you'd want to get it done when you had.
Yeah, I like to save that for last.
It's like eating candy, right? You want to eat that piece of candy.
I try to save, or cake. I like to save the edge with the most frosting and the most filling in the middle kind of thing. That's last. I save that for my last bite kind of thing. So painting, how I paint, it's what I'm really focused on. I try to save that for last so that I don't fizzle out with the painting. Because I've noticed that if I go straight into the primary, what I'm into, and I'll fizzle out, and I'll have to come back to the painting to finish it.
So are you saying if you don't do that, you get bored?
Bored, not bored, but kind of disinterested because I've already done what I was after. I see. Yeah. So if I jump right in, which is fine, you can make a vignette style, and I see people do that all the time. I just, I don't paint that way. So I was just watching Josh Clare on Instagram, and he painted the horse like he did a rider in some Utah field or whatever. And I was like, he painted that horse and the guy on the horse right away. And I was like, oh, I would have totally saved that, making that the last part. So, well, it also the background and everything else really influences how that color is going to pop and how it's going to look. So if you paint that in the beginning, then I guess you have to make sure that the background is supporting it one way or the other. Do you find yourself making adjustments in the surrounding parts outside of the composition area? Yeah. I'm changing colors and subtleties and stuff like that to go with the painting. So there's the harmony thing. So I'm already thinking ahead while I'm painting the background and trying to map it out, so to say. It's a puzzle, so it's like saving that centerpiece of the puzzle for last kind of thing. I'm going to pull up your website, and we should be able to see it now, so we can see a little bit of your work. Yeah. So that one right there that's on there, that was a 2-day planning. I can go back there. Yeah. No, so that's a little 9x12 of where the heck was I? Bakersfield or something like that. But that was 2 days, and I left like the stuff where the people are sitting. That was the last part I did, and the railing and stuff like that, because I was like, I'm really into these people sitting here. So that was the focal point for me. I love the abstract shapes. Looking at the blobs of paint in the background, which, we know instinctively are cars. But you didn't have to render those cars to make it feel like cars. Can you tell us a little bit about that? It's just about simple indication, but it's not so simple. You have to have accurate drawing with the cars, because I see people drawing cars and they, even when they're this simple, there's things on there I see right now I would change, but it's meant to be not so detailed. So I try to, it's drawing, basically, getting the drawing in there and learning to see basic, simple stuff. So, all right. Well, I accidentally, I went back to start to purchase that. So I'm going to pull this one up because that's very similar. Tell me about this. This looks like it's raining and it's almost nighttime. Yeah, it was like dusk on Market Street. I got my new camera. When you suggested getting that Sony Alpha, I got one of those. That's how all this happened. And so I was in in San Francisco with my new camera, hiding underneath my, taking pictures. And so this was actually a total experimental day with the new camera, running around the city, and it was super fun. And then I saw this guy with his umbrella coming on his bike, and I was like, oh, I gotta definitely get some shots of that guy. And it just worked out. You know, this painting was done with like 3 different photos.
So it was you composed it from 3 photos. So can you talk to the idea of painting from photographs? Because clearly the vibrancy of the color on the head, you know, the reflection from the headlights of the bus are much more vibrant than you would ever see in a photograph. What is your technique in terms of painting from photographs? Is it about, you know, making sure you've done a lot of plein air work? What is it?
It's all the above. It's having the outdoor experience, painting outside, having just observing, you know, and with using photos, I'm adjusting the color, the exposure, and all that in the computer to read it more like what it would be like if I was there in person.
This is a very, it's beautiful, and but it's a very busy composition, and I have an idea on this, but I'm curious, where are you trying to draw the eye?
The eye, I'm trying to go to the guy with the umbrella.
Yeah,
because of the reflection of the light in the bus behind him, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought too. And I thought using that really brilliant chroma right there, really, because the chroma is more intense than the reflection, let's say from the streetcar. Really beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, the color pop, you know, that helps to bring the eye to it, especially when you have the contrast of his black. He's wearing all black, so
what's the key to getting reflections like this? Because it seems to me that it would be, you know, if it gets too much white in it, it would get really chalky fast. How do you do this? Make it look right.
Well, I'm using more color, and you have to sometimes exaggerate the values. So like the darks next to the light reflection coming off the bus, I pushed the dark and the color so that the light would pop out more. And I'm using more color than I am white. So I try to lighten. And one of the things I try to do is I try to use color to lighten things as opposed to just jumping into white. Because then like you said, it can get pasty and chalky.
So are you one of these guys that tries not to add any white into your painting in the early stages?
Yes, definitely. Like that, all that stuff was done at the end. You know, I started laying it out, and that was done towards the end.
All right. So it looks like I've got that painting twice.
You're on the print page.
I'm trying to figure out how to get back to the main page here. Hang on a second. Mr. Technology, man, don't put me in front of technology.
You're doing great. What are you talking about?
Let me see if I can find some other paintings.
Do the one of those top left. Whatever.
This one here.
Yeah, either one.
The other top left.
No, well, the right, the one on the right has more plein air stuff. So if you want to talk about that.
Yeah. Okay, let's pick a painting to talk about. This is beautiful.
Wow, this is a fun one.
Yeah.
So this is Timmy's place in Lahaina, Maui. So I was at the Invitational, and everybody we do all those paint outs and stuff, and so everybody was there. It was a sunset painting day, so we were all there to paint the sunset. And well, I turned around and painted the surfboards. So you gotta. Just trying to stick out and have fun with painting, really, not painting the same thing that everybody else paints. So
that's what I call a Ken Oster moment.
Yeah, I think he was alive. I think he was at this. Yeah, he was there this year.
Was he?
Yeah.
Well, I remember the first time I met Ken, and we were at a paint out, and everybody was drawn to this bucolic, iconic scene. And he did the same thing. He turned around and painted what was in the garage behind him.
Yeah.
And he made it so beautiful, and it really works. And you probably stood out because everybody else did a sunset.
Yeah, and I sold this right away, because it was different. So, you got to check. You got to be. You have to try to stand out somehow and be comfortable doing it.
Well, and I think that goes along with your personality. Oh, let's look at oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, Honolulu surf check. This guy I rolled up looking at, this is the same, I think this is the same year actually. Done during the Maui Plein Air. I rolled up over at Honolulu, which is a point break, famous right point break. And he was there. And I was like, are you going to hang out for a while? He's all, yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I got a long drive, because he lived at the southern end of the island and we're way up on the North Shore. And so he hung out and let me do a painting of his car. It was hilarious. Like, he stayed for 3 hours and then he went and leaned against it. And I'm like, well, I wiped all that section out and I'm like, hey, stay right there. And he stood there for 20 minutes and I was able to get him in. And I did take a picture too, because I didn't get the graphics of his shirt and stuff in. So
how many times have you been painting a boat or a car and it pulled away?
So many. Yeah, so many. That's Maui as well. Those were all the same year.
Yeah. I like what you did with the hose, where you lead the eye right into the laundry.
Yeah. I moved that so that it would do that. So, but you have to change artistic license, use it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that for a second, because I think that's something a lot of people miss. Talk about why you want to be willing to move trees or move things around.
Well, for a visual path, if you cover that up, it's just kind of, it's just laundry, which is nice and all. But if you put the foreground by putting that in there, it gives the eye something to lead into it. And then you look through, there's the tree branches that create a little circle with the little palm tree.
Yeah, it's kind of almost like a portal. You're pulling us back.
Yeah, exactly. So just designing it so that visually the viewer, you have to think about the viewer, so that the viewer has a path through the painting. So it's not just stagnant where you just look in and then you can look out and you're done. You want to bring them in and make them look around, and you lead them through it. So that's done. Yeah, go ahead.
How do you manage to keep this sense of freshness when you're doing this in the studio? Because you're not outdoors, you're working either from a study like this or a photograph or something else. How do you train yourself to keep it fresh?
By stepping away. It's really hard because you have to I think what helped me to keep the freshness with my bigger studio pieces was working big outside, doing a 24-30 of a scene outside, spend the 3-4 days of whatever it is standing in the same spot and doing it outside, because you're not comfortable. You're not in your studio where it's nice and air conditioned or whatever, you got to get out and sweat it out sometimes. And I think that is what helped me to keep that feeling when I'm painting in the studio.
So in other words, you're not painting it in the studio. You're going outside.
No, I'm still painting in the studio though. To keep that freshness though, it helped me to paint by painting big outside, helped me to paint better in the studio, keeping it so it's fresh.
I see.
You have to edit.
Oh, because you're saying that being outside, painting big, trained you to do it for the studio.
Yeah.
I see. All right. Yeah. All right. I'm just going to flip through. Are you doing a lot of figures?
Been doing got back into painting portraits and stuff about like 5 years ago or so, 6 years ago. Just was
How does painting portraits influence your landscape work and vice versa?
well, you become better at drawing, and because you're drawing with a brush, and so painting the figure, if you're trying to be accurate with the portrait and getting a likeness, you have to so by doing that, it helps you draw better when you're outside doing plein air. So it's one helps the other, definitely. And then like painting outside, you get the color and the light.
Did you have a formal education?
Yeah, I went to the Academy of Art and I studied illustration and painting. And I sat in a lot of the figure drawing workshops and drew and painted as much as I could while I was at the school. So,
that is such a great school.
Yeah, it's great. They got a lot of talent coming out of it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, you're one of them. I mean, you're doing beautiful work. Well, this is all. I'll just flip through a couple of things. Oh, that's beautiful. Is that New York?
Yeah, New York. They just fixed the fountain, so it was hot June day, and they turned the fountain on. So it was like, whoa. It was pretty funny. I was standing right next to it, and I had to step away because I was getting misted. So yeah, Washington Square.
And the figures are beautiful. Did you do those figures from a photo, or did you do them plein air?
No, I did most of them plein air, and then I did like the little girl and her parents. I touched them up in the studio for the most part. But
yeah. Well, your figure work it's really excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice.
It's drawing. That's an old one from school.
Yeah.
That one's, I forget where that one is. Laguna.
That's fun. Do you have any of the Cuba paintings in here?
I thought I did.
Well, they're probably somewhere in here.
I have them in there somewhere. I'm not sure about it.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun looking at the website there. I'm going to bring you back to back on screen. There we go. So what are your best tips for somebody who wants to learn plein air painting or maybe get out for the first time?
Tips. Start drawing outside, get a sketchbook and just start drawing stuff that's outside, like around your house or at the park, or if you go have coffee somewhere, start drawing outside. Then make the next step using color. It could be gouache or something. So it's fun and fast, trying to catch the light. But it's just getting practice. And I think for me, what helped me out a lot when I was going to school, we had to draw and fill up sketchbooks like crazy because we had to turn them in, one, and two, you need to practice, right? So that helped me a lot, was just getting out and drawing everywhere I could. I take my sketchbook with me all the time. So yeah, I may not draw on it, but I have it with me. So
yeah, always be drawing.
Yeah,
that's something I learned in Russia, is that, and I'm sure it's true here too, and that is that the best artists always had a sketchbook, and if they were standing in line at the grocery store and they had 5 minutes to kill, they're doing sketches of people. I tend to do sketches of people on airplanes because prior to COVID, I was spending my life on an airplane. That's not happening again. I'm not going there again. So how do you think your life will change, your life, your family life, your art life? How is it going to be readjusted after COVID, or will it?
No, I'm in it. It's I will adjust. We will adjust to the times of what's going on. But it's funny. The other day we went to a thing for our youngest. They did like at church. They did a graduation ceremony for the seniors, and so we showed up, and COVID friendly outdoor event, and somebody asked me, "Hi, how's the art world going? Are you still doing that?" I'm like, "They're all with all this COVID stuff." I'm like, "What else am I gonna do?"
Like, this is what I do. So we're just going to adjust and keep going, you know?
Yeah. Well, I the reason I asked the question is I realized that I was addicted to travel, that at the drop of a hat, I would get on an airplane and go somewhere.
Me too.
And I realized how much of my kids' lives I was missing. I justified it through business. And but it was like somebody at the office had called and said, look, we're thinking about taking the convention to San Diego, but we got to find out if it's going to work. So I'd get on an airplane and I'd have an artist meet me. We'd go around and we'd find all the places in San Diego to paint, try to decide what they were, look at the hotels, look at 3 or 4 hotels, travel up and down the coast to some more hotels, and spend 2 or 3 days doing that, 4 times a year, and plus all the other business travel. And I said to my wife, I said, I'm not doing that again, even though the kids are gone now, or will be gone as of today. It just was too much. And so for me, I probably will still continue to do my events, but I'm going to do less travel.
Yeah, no, less travel not that I was traveling that much because of the kids and stuff. I ended up doing a lot of Mr. Mom's things as they got older. And I was excited. I was so stoked because our youngest was a graduating senior. Our oldest was going to Berkeley. And I was like, yes, now I can go to Europe and paint. I can go. I had all this list of places to go and do and paint and stuff. And then this shit happened. I was like,
well,
okay, so now road trip.
You'll still be able to do those things. It's just going to be delayed a little bit. And
we, like right after we had a road trip planned that was a COVID friendly road trip up through the Four Corners area and went and stayed in Vermilion Cliffs, which, oh man, that place is just gorgeous. I'm definitely going back there. We were there for 4 nights and I painted every day, and it was like a week after my dad had passed, so it was much needed road trip. So we're planning on doing more road trips,
nice.
Getting out.
So do you still have kids at home?
Yeah, they're both home.
Oh, but so the one's going to Berkeley though.
Yeah, she's taking this semester off from there.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense
because it's all online, and so she is interning, and to keep her internships, she's taking a web design class and a graphics class at the junior college here, just because that will help her with her interning. And so her goal is to get back up to Berkeley next semester.
And then you had one just graduate high school.
Yep. And she's going into studio arts at the local college. So, which is all online right now. She already did a class over the summer.
So she's going to stay home though.
Yeah, maybe she wants to go to Long Beach or LCAD.
Yeah. So maybe she'll be gone. So you're going through the same thing that we're going through.
Yeah.
And then do you have others at home, or you just have the 2?
Just the 2. And a dog.
Yeah. So your life is going to change because they both are independent now, and so you'll be able to make those trips. So if you could travel 3 places in the world, the last 3 places you got a chance to see and paint, what would those 3 places be?
Ooh. In the world.
Anywhere in the world.
I would like to go and what's that place, the Indiana Jones movie where you got to go through the canyon to get to the
Egypt.
Egypt? Yeah, that's Egypt.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. We have Mustafa, who's one of our daily viewers, is in Egypt, and he has invited me to take a trip to Egypt. And as a matter of fact, I don't think I have it anymore, but I had these pictures he photoshopped of me in Egypt. They were pretty funny. And
that's awesome.
So anyway, I'll show you. Anyway, we're going to make a trip to Egypt. I haven't decided when or where or when or how yet, but and he says that he'll make sure that we're safe. Here, I'll show you the picture.
Awesome. That's cute.
Yeah. So maybe, okay. So Indiana Jones, and so that'll be one. All right.
That's one of those destination places that I just thought I'd never go to. So I was like, yeah, I'd love France. I haven't been there yet, so I see stuff that I would like to paint there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Explore. I think painting in Amsterdam area, doing all that, just because of the history of the area. And I'd love to go back to Spain and paint there some more.
Yeah.
I painted there a few years ago, and it was just amazing, and would love to make it, because that was a family trip. I would love to just go there and do an art thing.
So
there's a little hotel.
How do you juggle the idea of painting when you're on a family trip?
I don't paint every day.
Yeah.
Basically, or it's like, it's usually at the end of the day, we're right around where we're staying at, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or I involve the kids, be like, hey, so we painted we were in Marbella, Spain, and we were out I wanted to draw and paint some of the architecture, and so we took the kids and we took all of our liquid art supplies and all the water solubles, and went and sat at a cafe and had snacks and drank beer and drew, and I had a blast doing it as a little family unit. So they all participate, so it's pretty fun.
Because I'm going to be an empty nester, maybe you and I'll connect somewhere. We'll go painting.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I certainly need more painting, and maybe I could just watch you for a while. That I'd probably get more value out of that than trying to paint.
No, whatever. You hold your own. What are you talking about?
Well, I want to thank you, Scott, for being on today and for
Thanks
doing
for having me.
It's been fun. I want to show that painting one more time that you just did, in case somebody tuned in late, because I just think it's really fun. The mosh. What do you call this? Mosh pit?
I'm calling it standing room only. I might call it general admission, but I entered it in the ARC show because somebody was telling me that I should. So I made it. I gave myself that deadline. The 14th was Friday, midnight PST, to get it done, and I got it done Friday morning, basically, at least enough, then shot it, and that was the whole. Everyone's like, "You better get up and get that on there," and they're like, "What are you gonna call it?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm thinking against the grain. No, call it." So we did a poll online and went with standing room only, since you can't go to shows and stand next to each other anymore. So
perfect. All right. Well, maybe we'll find a museum. Somebody watching will have a museum they're going to want to put that in.
I love that idea.
I think it's a great idea. Well, they can find you at your website, and your website address is, let me just see here. It's scottwpryor.com, right?
Yes, sir.
Did I get that right?
You got it right.
Okay. So there must be another Scott Pryor who's an artist.
There is. And I was going to bring that up, but then I thought, no, I won't do that. I still think about changing my name or something.
What are you going to change it? You've already
I don't know.
branding.
I spent all this time branding it as like the other guy,
Well, the W makes sense. There was a famous radio DJ in Los Angeles, Robert W. Morgan. It was the W that gave him the distinction. So I think
his middle name is Wilson. Scott's middle name is Wilson. Mine's William. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The other Scott, yeah. I met him last year. I was back east, and so I went to Northampton, and we met up and had lunch, and he's all, when you added that W, he's all, my middle name is Wilson. I almost started giving you shit for so like, so good times. That's not good.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm glad to connect with you, and remember, everybody, that today at 3 p.m., Scott is doing Vibrant Cityscapes, and that'll be on YouTube or Facebook at Streamline Art Video.
Yeah, so I'll be there.
Go there. Yeah, and Scott, we're looking forward to it. It's great to connect with you, and good to see you again, and to learn about what you've been doing during COVID.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on.
See you guys at 3 o'clock.
All right. So that's Scott W. Pryor. He'll be on answering questions and doing Q&A and so on. And we have a special discount in the code in the comments section, discount code in the comments section, so you can get a discount on his stuff. We've been doing that every day throughout COVID, And it's good because it helps the artist, it helps us, and it helps you. So it's kind of a win-win-win. So reminder, I don't think I told you today, today's prize for comments is a subscription to Plein Air magazine. The winner is, I think this is Keats Gypsy in Vancouver, Canada. I may have named that one before. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, I think that's the right one. If not, I'll correct it and we'll let them know. A reminder that there's a $6,000 painting up for grabs at paintinggiveaway.com. It's a Carl Dempwolf painting, and you want to win that. And a reminder that Realism Live is going to increase price on the 30th of August. You want to get that. It's coming up soon. It's going to be huge. We think it's going to be a lot bigger than Plein Air Live was. And we've got artists from all over the world who are teaching and attending, 30 or 40 countries already. Remember that the Plein Air Salon art competition, entering art competitions is good for you because it will help you in many ways. So anyway, thank you for your time today. And I'm Eric Rhoads, publisher of Plein Air Magazine and fine art connoisseur. And thanks again to Scott W. Pryor. Have a great day. Bye.